What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about multiple ways to take away drags in both college football and in Madden. Now, drags are a route that you have to know how to take away because you're just going to see them on pretty much any given snap in any offensive formation. It could be bunch, trips, a random formation you've never even heard of. Drags will always be a top three route in the game because if you don't make any adjustments on defense and you're just running soft zone or soft man, well, you're just going to have a field day with it because you can just throw drags at any point, rack it, and get 5 to 10 yards. They are an extremely annoying route if you do not know what you're doing. Even if you know what you're doing, they're annoying because, again, they get underneath a lot of zones and sometimes require user attention. And then you could put something above the drag that's kind of doing a high low concept, and it puts a lot of stress on a defense. So, drags in general are a route that you're going to see on pretty much any given snap. So, again, this was a soft zone. If we go to a soft man, like a backed off cover zero, you're going to see that the drag is going to get separation, and we're just going to throw that for a big rack. Sometimes even more if you have a faster player. So in general, drags extremely annoying. So what is the simplest way to take away drags? If you're playing a zone coverage, more specifically a cover 3 or cover 4, the easiest thing you can do is shade your coverage underneath. So if you press Y or triangle, right stick down for underneath, that is going to change your hook zones and flat zones to aggressively play underneath. I know the yellow zones don't look much different, but they are going to stay at 5 yard depth and they're going to contest this drag a lot better. So look at this route combo. Drag gets smothered if you throw this. He's going to get popped. It is just not a good read. So just notice how all of these zones are playing underneath. This is the simplest thing you can do. However, it's a trade-off. You're giving up deeper routes, like the deep crosser is going to be open in a second. And that's where your awareness has to come in. So let's say your opponent's using this exact route combo and you shade your coverage underneath. Well, you're going to give up this deep crosser if you get enough time. If we don't have a terrible throw, like, don't know what that throw was. Come on, Gunner. You're better than that, I think. Let's try that again. Maybe you're not better than that. So anyways, you see how it's wide open. So let's say your opponent is throwing that drag constantly and he's using this kind of route combo. If you know that the drag is coming from the bunch side, all you have to do is shade your coverage underneath, use this hook zone, and take away the deep crosser yourself. So now we take away the deep crosser, and you're going to see that the only thing open now is the return route. And we're only sending 3, so the pressure is not going to be great. But this is where kind of the next layer comes in. So let's say we do the same route combo. We shade underneath. What we can do now is we can recognize the deep crosser is going to get above. We can user it, switch stick to this guy, let that guy go back down and play the return route. And now this entire concept is taken away. That's just where your awareness comes in. You have to know where your weakness is, and you have to mask it with your user. So shading your coverage underneath is a very simple way to contest drags and checkdowns in general. However, it's not always the best thing to do. Sometimes you do need to get more advanced because let's say you want to use a coverage like cover 2. If you shade your coverage underneath, it is for sure going to take away the drag. I'll tell you that much. However, it's going to give up way too much of the field. So if your opponent uses this route combo again, well, if he sees this, he's going to have this cover 2 hole shot or a big play or even a touchdown. So that's not ideal because now your outside cornerback is playing a hard flat as opposed to a cloud flat. And if you're going to be playing a cover 2, you probably want cloud flats or soft squats. So you can do one of two things. You can shade your coverage underneath and then re-cloud your outside cornerbacks if you have quick fingers, or you can use a more elegant solution, which is using your custom zone stems. This is a new feature. And if you're not using it, I do think you're missing out. I think it's actually a pretty good feature. So what you can do, we'll go back and reset to this normal cover 2. You can do this one of two ways. You can click onto the defenders and stem them yourselves. So you would just like click onto a defender like this, press A or X, LB, and then down on the D-pad once. And notice how he's now playing at this 5-yard depth. This is going to do a much better job of contesting that drag. Is it going to completely take away the entire window of the drag? No, it's not. But he does play down. See how he kind of contests that a little bit more? Once he runs past that, it is going to have a window. But I'm just trying to show you that you do have these tools available to you to contest these drags a little bit better. So what you can also do is do it via quick adjustments. So double tap Y or triangle, select Y or whatever player you want to custom zone stem. and then LB or L1, and then down on the D-pad once, and you're going to see we have that stem down hook zone. So again, you're going to see that he takes away the drag for a second. He does run by him and eventually gets positive yards. And that's why drags are so tricky. You can take them away for a second, but sometimes there are going to be windows that they can throw if they're patient. At this point, you have two valuable tools to help you take away drags. You have shaded underneath zone and you have custom zone stems. There's more that we can go to though. So I want to go through pretty much all of the solutions so you guys know all of the tools available to you. So the next thing we have are 3-recs. So what are 3-recs? So I'm going to go ahead and show you this is cover 3 cloud out of dime 2-3 odd. And let me go ahead and put this guy in something else just to kind of show you the 3-rec. So you see this guy, he's called a 3-rec hook. This is called a 3-receiver hook. He is typically going to play like a maniac if the computer defender is using him. My general recommendation is to let the computer do the work on the 3-rec. If you shade your coverage down, he is going to play down and play drags for a super, super long time. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to use that guy that I dragged way back. I'm just going to show you, look at this 3-rec hook defending this drag for ages. You don't even have to play it yourself. So 3-rec hooks are very, very good. In some cases, you can utilize bluff blitz to get a 3-rec if you don't have one. So let's say we're in the Tampa 2 again and we don't have a 3-rec hook. Sometimes you can like bluff blitz your defensive tackle and you'll get a 3-rec hook, and it just depends on the formation and the player. I don't personally like doing this with my defensive tackle. I just wanted to show you that bluff blitz is an option that you can use in some cases to get a 3-rec if you don't have it on whatever player you're using. So in this case, you know, if I shade my coverage down, well, this kind of frees up this guy because I don't need him playing this part of the field. My 3-rec is going to do that for me. So what you can do is, if you're expecting that route combo, it frees you up. You can be like, okay, I'm going to man up to this guy. And then if I see that route combo, I'm going to switch stick to the stem corner. And, well, guess what? Everything's pretty much taken away. So that is the beauty of 3-recs. They are very, very good shaded down at playing drags. Do not user your 3-rec if you don't have to. Like certain plays like cover 4 quarters, you might have to. But in this case, we're doing a send 3 and out of a cover 3 cloud, and it's just very easy to not use him. So that's one thing you can do, 3-recs. Quarterback spies are another good thing at contesting this immediate part of the field. So let's say we just play the soft zone here. The spy is, of course, not going to take away the drag forever, but he is going to take him away for a little bit. Makes the window a little bit tighter over the middle of the field. He's also playing the quarterback too, so you kind of get a little bit more valuable out of just playing the quarterback. You get a very short window taken away across the middle of the field. Let's talk about a couple more ways to contest drags. So we've talked about shaded underneath zone, custom zone stems, 3-rec hooks, and quarterback spies. Those are all great options. And, you know, you want to use those in tandem. You can't just use any of them in isolation, really, but those are all great options. Now, we do have 2 more ways to kind of think about drags. The first one is to use a combo coverage. So let's say you want to really take away drag. You know a drag is coming. You can actually just man them up. So let's say we shade our coverage underneath and we're expecting this outside receiver to be in a drag. You could do a shaded underneath man coverage like this, and that's going to contest the drag pretty well. Now, this is dependent on ratings and all that kind of stuff. Your guy might overcommit and not play him super well, but notice how he's really kind of sticking with him, and it's going to at least limit the rack because you have a guy who's aggressively playing down, and we still have a very safe shell over the top. So this is definitely an okay way to like handle this. Like this is definitely good if you're expecting a drag from a specific player. So I'll show you again. We'll go ahead and do a different route combo. We'll do the one that we talked about at the beginning of the video. So we'll do this one. So again, if you're expecting a certain guy to be in a drag, you could like man this guy up, shade it underneath, and you could just user this guy. Let's have a look. Well, right there, he gives up very limited rack. Sometimes you are going to give up separation still just because drags are so overpowered. But, you know, we can live with that, right? We don't really care about the 3 yards as much as like the 10. So that's another thing you can do, just shade it underneath man. Now be very careful not to use like a cover 0 shade underneath. Like if you shade underneath out of cover 0 like this, you're just asking to get beat deep. Because like let's say the they run like a route combo like this, it's not really important, but they have a drag or something, well, you're probably just going to get beat for a touchdown because they're just aggressively playing underneath. So don't play any kind of shaded underneath man unless it's like a cover 2 man. Cover 2 man is going to be fine because you do have safety help over the top, so you can aggressively play underneath like this. And if they run this route combo that we've been going over, well, we now have a guy manned up to the tight end underneath. So cover 2 man, totally fine. Cover 0, absolutely do not play shaded underneath. You will get beat for a touchdown. And the last thing that comes to mind is pretty simple, but it's just usering it. Like if you're expecting a drag, you can just take away the drag with your user in a very smart way. So let's say you're playing a cover 4 drop. You're playing a very safe coverage and you even want to shade your coverage underneath. Well, when you shade your coverage underneath, we've already talked about how there's space above these underneath zones and, underneath the deep zones. So if they run a post, a deep cross or whatever, it's going to be open. So if you commit your user underneath to take away the drag, well, again, they have this right here. So you're playing like a pick and choose, or like pick your poison. Well, if you are expecting something or you just kind of know what you're doing with your user, you don't have to be that aggressive. You can shade underneath, then maybe custom stem this guy up and then user the drag underneath. Now, the cool thing is we have help on the outside. So the hard flats are going to take away the drags once the drag gets pretty much outside the hashes. So if they run this combo again, well, you can be like, all right, I'm going to play this drag for a second. Then I'm going to switch up here and then user this guy. And now we have pretty much everything underneath taken away. So it's just kind of being smart about how you user, knowing when you have help. So you can be like, okay, drag's right here. He's not going to throw him, and I can switch stick off and let the hard flat handle him. The return route is going to be open right here. So, I don't want to act like the entire play is bagged. I'm just trying to show you how to force your opponent into its progressions because we're taking away his first 2 reads, the drag and the deep cross. And anytime you take away your opponent's first 2 reads, you're at least making them work and you have a chance of, pressuring the quarterback before them. So this is basically the gist of the video, just multiple ways to really contest drags. You have shaded underneath zone coverage. You have shaded underneath man as long as you have safety help. So that can be out of a zone coverage shell or even a cover 2 man. You have custom zone stems. I'm not sure if I said that already. You have 3 rec hooks. You have quarterback spies. And you have usering. So you have a ton of different things available to you to take away drags. And if you combine them, you're going to give your opponent a difficult time. Just make sure you do realize that situationally, you don't always have to take away drags. They're not always the most important thing to take away. But if your opponent is only throwing drags, these things will do a great job at getting them out of their comfort zone and forcing them into the progression. So hopefully this video was helpful. Drop a like if it was. And then if you want me to do more videos like this, just let me know in the comment section. See you guys in the next one.